To the Old Party Group on blockchain, Dr. Christian de Vartavan. If you'd like to give us your presentation, Christian.
Yes, I'm the Global Ambassador of Public, which is a non-profit foundation for creators, and I'm also the CEO of Projecting Consultant Limited, which is a consultancy for new technologies. Good evening. I first wish to thank you for the Chairman of the APPG and the directors of the Legal Innovation Center to allow me to speak here today. Blockchain can do a lot for creative industries, as I explained a few days ago during Dubai's Future Blockchain Summit, and I'm glad Marcus went round the block. So I will concentrate on the question of the agenda of how blockchain can empower creators in today's digital era. This from the point of view of remuneration and royalties. And this in the context when the publishing industry is not always very fair to authors. I will provide an example to demonstrate this and propose two solutions to change the situation. Since we're dealing with creativity, please allow me to start with an extract from a creation made in the worst possible human condition. Here refer to Oscar Wilde's 1897 ballad The Bread in Jail, slide, which he wrote soon after his incarceration to earn money. And there, till Christ called forth the dead, in silence let him lie. No need to waste the foolish tear or heave the windy sigh. The man had killed the thing he loved, and so he had to die. Slide, please. The prisoner for whom this poem was written had a quick ending. He was hanged. Mr. Wilde's agony in a shabby Parisian hotel was a long one. How often as a student have I passed in front of his last window, wondering how on earth one of the greatest literary genius the world has ever seen, whose creation feed, as we speak, tens of thousands of creatives, could end in such a way. The trial he had to endure because of his sexual orientation is common knowledge, but irrespective of this, he should have died a wealthy man. Instead, the meager royalty of his poem outlived him. Now, as to the ballad, it also refers to the Ring of Prisoners painted in 1890 by Mr. Van Gogh, actually from the engraving of a London prison. Mr. Van Gogh, who equally died in absolute poverty for a reason which we equally all know. Of course, one may argue that this was a long time ago, that such tragic stories do not happen anymore, and that Mr. Wilde, for example, if he had lived today, would not have died in poverty because he would have enjoyed a fairer reward of royalties for his books or plays. In fact, more royalties because his work is now distributed across a wide range of medias which did not exist in his time. But is that really so? Sadly, since Mr. Wilde's times, a number of world-class writers have suicided here or abroad, Mr. David Foster Wallace being one of them in 2008. The reason for the suicides are often complex, but in several cases have clearly involved financial difficulties. This is why it is vital that writers be paid royalties, and the problem is that in 2019, 119 years after Mr. Wilde's death, this is still not always the case. And I will demonstrate this with a current example. As we speak, the two books before your eyes are sold in bookshops or online. This is a hardback first edition, and here's the paperback pocket edition published shortly after, a market success. Both distributed by one of the world's top publishing houses and a household name. Who are those publishers and who is the author is of no importance today. What it is that the book is not only rated 5 stars, but is publicly presented as a bestseller. Moreover, the printing cost has already been paid by public subscription, hence at no expense whatsoever to the publisher. And yet, the publisher states that the book has produced no benefits, and that hence no royalties are due. The book was published in 2017, and I can confirm that to date no royalty whatsoever has been paid to the author, a royalty. Let us be clear. The honesty of many publishing houses of this country is not to be questioned. But what we have here is most probably not an isolated case. And for many starting authors, many fragile financially, if not psychologically, writing a first book is not only always an ordeal, but can be a matter of life and death. Of course, both publishers refuse, as requested by the author, to tell how many copies were printed and how many were sold. I have information that it is in the thousands, as would be expected from a bestseller. And this is where I'm getting to, and where blockchain can completely change this unacceptable situation, particularly if Parliament walks in. So here's the first item, and a new one, insofar as I've been able to verify. I propose that each print or subsequent run of any book at any time should be listed on the blockchain, so that this listing may be consulted by all and that due royalties may duly be paid. One may rightly point out that publishers may not wish to put the information on the blockchain. This is correct. And this is why I hence also propose that printers be compelled by law to list on the blockchain the exact number of copies printed for their clients, i.e. the publishers. Printers, not publishers. Printing houses could easily do that on a dedicated professional platform housed, for example, by the British Library, which, by law, gets a copy of any book printed. As I checked with the help of a lawyer, there are no precedents for such law in the United Kingdom. But this law, I found, exists abroad. Remember in this respect that the name of the printer must appear in the imprint of any book. So why not the number of copies printed? Slide, please. The lawyer, by the way, found that in 2016, Mr. Philip Pullman, president of the Society of Authors, pointed out the unfairness by which authors are remunerated. His solution was a bestseller clause to increase authors' royalty, which he called government and the European Union to implement by law. Till such law is passed, then such a blockchain platform could be put in place within days. Publishers who would wish to dissociate themselves and claim good practice could register and, of their own accord, declare the number of books printed for any new title, as well as later the number of books sold. Authors could then start to be wary of publishers who do not and favor publishers who do. We are here talking about increased transparency. All in all, this is a use case where blockchain, data stamping, can empower creators as a wealthier creator is one with enhanced creative powers. And enhanced creative productivity enhances the creative industries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Christian. I'm sure everyone would agree, a very passionate case there.
Yes, it is.
For the creative industries and blockchain. Not only talk about cutting edge technology, but also a little history of English literature thrown in. So you get value for money tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you for that. And moving on now to